Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. To my returning subscribers, thank you so much for your support. I don't take it for granted. To my new subscribers, my name is Sam G. I'm your personal finance and lifestyle guy. Please be sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe if you're enjoying the content, and just stay tuned for more. I've been out for a little bit, but I'm back now, so let's get right to it. In today's video, I'll be talking about the benefits of leasing when you lease a car versus when you buy the car new, versus when you buy the car used as well. So there's a lot of comparison and contrast that's going to be going on today, so stay tuned and leave a like, leave a comment if anything you want to add, and let's just learn from each other and let's get right to the video. I want to first talk about leasing a car. When you lease a car, you pay for the right to drive that particular vehicle for a fixed period of time. That's typically maybe 3 to 4 years, and most leases are often financed through the dealer. You will still be responsible for paying any title fees, taxes, licensing fees, documentation fees, or any fees that you were responsible for at the time of lease signing. So there's not much difference, process-wise, there's not much difference between buying a car, buying a used car or a new car versus leasing a car. You still have to pay those little charges anyway at the end of the day. In some cases, however, you do have to make a down payment and also an acquisition fee or a drive-off fee. So take note of that. So there are many nuances to leasing a vehicle, and there are many charges that sometimes when you compare and contrast, you might think to yourself, I might as well just buy a car if I'm paying that much, and the difference anyway. But we'll talk more about it. Let's talk about it a bit more. I just want to give you guys a comprehensive understanding of each category, and then from there you can kind of compare and contrast and make the decision for yourself as to what you think is the best course of action. After you've done all this, you're going to be paying for a monthly payment that covers the depreciation of the vehicle from year to year. And on top of that, there'll be a restriction of the number of miles you can drive off that vehicle in a given period of time. So maybe they'll tell you that maybe in the year you can't drive more than 20,000 miles, or maybe in 6 months you can't drive more than 8,000 miles. So there's typically restrictions like that on how often you can drive it and how much mileage you can accumulate on there at a given time. Of course of your lease, you're going to be responsible for paying for any scratches, any dings, any dents, any damages that come from accidents while you're driving the vehicle. So be prepared for that as well. And in most cases, it's actually cheaper to fix the car yourself than to wait for the company to fix the car and then send you the charges, which are going to be an exorbitant amount of money if you wait for that. Now let's talk about some of the benefits of leasing. Leasing can come with an assortment of benefits that can often lead to a significant amount in savings over a period of time. Leasing offers lower monthly payments than it would if you were financing a car or buying new. So it typically helps to keep your spending in check on a month-to-month basis. It costs less. So that's one benefit of leasing a car versus buying one. Another benefit of leasing a car is that you have a lesser down payment relatively to buying or a used car or a new car. So that there's initial shock of, I have to pay all of this. But when you do a cost-benefit analysis, it'll be cheaper. You don't own the car, but it'll be cheaper if you're looking purely at the numbers. There are also manufacturer warranty options, which typically last for about 3 years or 36,000 miles, whichever comes first. So that's also another benefit. Though there also, in buying new cars, there's a warranty option also comes with that. That's sometimes it's for the first 100,000 miles, first 50,000 miles. So it's kind of in both. So if you're comparing new versus leasing in that aspect, it might be better to get a new car. Now let's talk about some drawbacks of leasing a car. Like I said before, leasing has some restrictions on the number of miles you can drive, as well as other drawbacks that may not necessarily look favorable or appealing if you're looking at it from that standpoint. So let's go over some of them. For every mile that's exceeded over the mile restriction that they set for you, maybe 10,000 miles or 15,000 miles, you will pay a premium. Sometimes it's 25 cents per mile, sometimes it's 30 cents per mile. So take note of that. So if you look at that and you drive a lot, you might not want to be leasing a car. You might want to buy a new car, so you don't have to worry about some of those aspects. Terminating your lease early is also very expensive. Sometimes you have to check to see if the contract allows for you to enact lease transfers or how much it actually costs. So you make sure you go over all of this before you lease a car, because sometimes there are situations where they're out of your control and now you have to end the lease early. By ending it, you incur a lot of fees that you would have otherwise not incurred had you gotten a used car or a new car. And the kicker part of this is also that at the end of the day, you're not going to own the car, regardless of how many monthly payments you've made on the car. Sometimes they have a lease buyout, which you still have to finance anyway through them. So you still keep paying monthly payments at the end of the day. So you end up not owning the car unless you want to do a lease buyout, which like extends the period of time that you're paying your monthly payments for. So that's another thing. If you're already going to be making monthly payments, then why not just explore the option of buying a new car? So maybe for the first 5 years you're under warranty. You know that if anything, you're going for routine maintenance, oil change, brakes, filters, that kind of thing. So you don't have to worry about it for some time, and then you can move forward. But with leasing, there's a lot of responsibility that falls on you from the company that is leasing it to you, that you have to be really careful before you sign that dotted line on what you want and what you can actually afford to maintain over a period of time. Now let's talk about buying a car. Buying a car means that you maintain possession of the car rather than just using it for a few years and then giving it back. If you're looking for a brand new car, it can have a big price tag. As of June 2023, Kelley Blue Book has reported an average value of over $48,000 to $53,000 for new cars. And of course, this depends on what kind of car you're getting. There's some cars that are cheaper than that, some cars that are way above the threshold, and some cars that are just right in between. So it really depends on what kind of car taste that you have and what you're looking for. There are also other affordable options like buying certified pre-owned vehicles as well as buying used vehicles. So if the budget doesn't fit the new car, you can explore those options as well. For new cars that are purchased via loan or by financing, the monthly payments are typically higher than what you would pay for leasing a vehicle. But at the end of the day, again, it's going back to what happens at the end of the day. At the end of the day, that vehicle is going to be yours. Now let's talk about the benefits of buying a car. Buying a car allows you access to equity in building valuable assets. There's some cars that you buy for maybe $30,000, and then over the course of time it depreciates and you sell it for maybe $25,000. Or there's some cars like Teslas, where I've seen cases where somebody bought a Tesla for maybe $53,000, ended up selling it for $63,000 after maybe 2 years or so. Depending on the model and the brand, of course, it matters. So it's a multivariate factor analysis that plays into the part of how much you do pay back and how much you do get back. So there are instances where it counts as an asset, but typically for cars they depreciate over time, so people don't really count them as assets. It's more of a liability, a necessary evil that you have to do, payments that you have to make to really just help you get around. So that's that. And so it's a benefit, but it's also a benefit that comes with reservation, just so we're clear on what it actually means, kind of to read the fine print, so to speak. Another benefit is that when you buy a car, you don't have any mileage limits. You don't have to pay any premiums over the lease restrictions. You own the car. If you want to drive 200,000 miles on the car in 1 year, you can. Nobody's stopping you from doing that, though I wouldn't advise it, but nobody's stopping you from doing that. So that's another benefit that you need to take note of. And also, you don't have to worry about any wear and tear charges. And if you feel like you want to trade in a vehicle, you want to get another one, you're at liberty to do so, and you don't have to worry about what happens to the vehicle once your auto loan is paid off. Now, let me be clear. Car ownership is not without its downsides, so let's talk about some of the drawbacks of actually owning a vehicle. One significant drawback of buying a car is the high monthly payments if you lease or you finance them. For instance, according to Kelley Blue Book, for the year of 2022, on average, the monthly loan payments for people that got new Toyota RAV4s is $578, which is $131 less than what people paid for if they were to lease it. Keep in mind, this is before any insurance payments that you have to make, any maintenance payments that you would have to make with oil change, brakes, anything that happens unexpected along the way that you have to pay for. So it really adds up over time, and it's really costly over a period of time to finance or keep making payments on a car. And you will own it at the end of the day, but it's still a lot of money when you consider those factors. Which leads me into my next point, which is that owning a car means that you're responsible for fixing it if something breaks. And even though warranty might cover, you have some warranty options that may cover some of these things, once they run out, you're on your own for the most part. So that's another thing that kind of drives people away from that and turns people to just leasing the vehicle. And I do understand the perspective as well. It does make sense on a monetary standpoint. So it's definitely valid. Now let's talk about some final considerations. So whether you want to buy or lease a car, there's certain important key factors that you have to keep in mind. If you're looking to lease a car, make sure that your credit score is about maybe around 680 to 740, because credit score is a measure of your ability to be able to make those payments. That's what the companies look at when they give you some of these deals, and it's a measure of how much premium you might be asked to pay or demanded to pay. So if you're looking to lease a car, make sure it's between like $680, $740. If you're looking to buy a car, $660 or higher is fine, since the main form of responsibility is going to be falling on you. Anyway, typically there's a bit more leeway to work with in that regard. Deciding whether you want to buy or lease a car should always depend on a careful assessment of your finances and driving habits. Think about how much you can comfortably afford to pay each month, and also think about how many miles you drive a month, and compare those two and see if you would fall within the lease restrictions if you're looking to lease a car. But if you're looking to buy a car, think about the monthly payments and the maintenance and all that, and see if it's something that you can comfortably be able to afford. Also, you definitely need to know what kind of car you're looking for and crunch the numbers in a lease versus buy calculator. There are many online. All you literally have to do is just type in a Google lease versus buy calculator. We'll give you a calculator to compare those two costs or those two scenarios and see which one will be the more cost effective. Also, be sure to shop around when you're looking for cars to ensure that you have the best deal, and make sure that you don't tell them your budget if you're buying a car. That's one big mistake that I made when I told them my budget, and they made sure that what I was looking for was exactly my budget. Which was a round number, and even with taxes and all that, I thought that was crazy. But make sure you tell them less than your budget, or just don't tell them your budget at all, and then just work from there. So I hope you guys found this video insightful. Please stay tuned. I have more content coming. Leave a like, comment, subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Just add your thoughts on what buying versus leasing a vehicle. Add your thoughts to it. So let's keep the conversation going. And until next time, stay tuned, and I hope you guys have a wonderful week. Take care.